On the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, we find Brandon Marcello. What is up, Brandon? How are you?
Not much. Not much. How are you guys?
Doing great. Thanks a lot. I don't know that you were watching the Academy Awards. I know you're a big movie guy. As I made the point, who knows if they're acting? The whole room's full of phenomenal actors, the best the world has, right?
Yeah, I wasn't watching. I didn't watch the Oscars just because I didn't really see any of the movies that are nominated. But yeah, that was real. That looked real. And certainly looked like it based off of the video they were showing of him talking to his publicist and all these actors trying to talk to him afterward and whatever. I don't know. Those superstars, they're in Hollywood. They're in a different realm. They do not live on the same plane of existence as us. They don't live in reality, and I don't care what they do as long as they're not literally killing people. Do whatever you want. Go away.
I knew it was only a matter of time with your popularity growing that you would get a sponsorship deal. I appreciate the folks at Jeep jumping in with you there and signing on. It's like NASCAR. You got to thank the people, the shops, and the sponsor there. I like it.
Yeah, man. I wish I had sponsorship deals, but no, I'm paying for everything.
Including the hat, I'm sure. Hey,
and Jeep stands for, it's an acronym.
What does it stand for?
Just empty every pocket.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Hey, Auburn had their first scrimmage over the weekend, and I know you're familiar with the program and everything, but you're on the national scale now. Zach Calzada's he's not really participating. He's going through mental reps and all of that. TJ Finley got all the first team reps. Do you think there's time for Calzada if he's never, hot, never live in the spring to battle and win this job in August?
Oh yeah, certainly. And actually you've seen that a little bit at some other spots too. Some quarterbacks not really repping very much with the group, or they're not even coming till the summer, which is very interesting. It used to be, or it still is, spring practice, if you're not there, you got a very difficult time winning a starting job. But if you're an Auburn fan and you're focused on Auburn, obviously, I mean, you could say it's very similar potentially to, Nick Marshall when he came in 2013. He was not there in the spring and ended up winning the starting job anyway. Not similar, not exact circumstances, but somewhat similar. And yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that and thinking that Zach Calzada is not going to have enough time to win that job, because that's when it'll heat up. It's these summer months when they're working out on their own, working with the strength staff, having some meetings with the coaches and understanding everything. But yeah, I think that quarterback battle will really start anew when August arrives.
There are a lot of unknowns because Brian Kelly is a new coach there, but when you see a guy transfer in like Jaden Daniels, you get the feeling there's a reason that happens, Brandon. If you could find freshman Jaden Daniels, that's a heck of an upgrade at LSU.
Oh yeah, that would have been huge. But yeah, I think that it's very much understood there that unless something crazy happens, he's going to end up being the starter. Miles Brennan actually came out and said a few days ago, listen, this is, I think, like his sixth quarterback battle of some sort in his career. He's used to this, and he's just going to go through it and see what happens day to day. I think he's, not to say he's resigned himself to maybe being the backup, but I think he understands that they brought him in because they believe he could be the starter. And I got to prove them that they're wrong. And until he does that, I think that the, safe bet is that Jaden Daniels is going to be the guy. And, he should be. He's very experienced, did very well at Arizona State. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think he'll have more offensive talent, better talent at LSU with that offense than he did at Arizona State. I'm excited to see what he can do in that system.
I'm wondering how you feel about Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. He gets $1 million pay raise. He's been there 17 years now. And I don't know if it was true or not, but every step along the way, it seems like he's been mentioned for another job, or that he had interest in the Tennessee job, or he had interest in this job. Was there ever real interest on him leaving Stillwater, or was that just, agent ploy to get raises and security for him? Did he ever really want to leave this job at Oklahoma State?
I can't remember what year it was, but there was one year he was seriously interested in potentially leaving. Doesn't mean he was sold on leaving, but he felt pretty good. Like, I think I'm probably ready to leave. At this point, he's not going to leave. unless the writing's kind of on the wall there and he sees an opportunity to get out, as in, his tenure there's not going to last. But, seeing him in person back at Bedlam, he spoke a while after that game about how he said, he's been there, 2-3 decades, and of course was a player there. And he said it finally seemed like Stillwater was becoming a football town, and how excited that made him for the future. And this was, of course, right after the field was rushed. But, Stillwater, it's a small town, of course. It's a community that, rallies completely around Oklahoma State and what's doing well there. But as popular and as good, I should say, as good as Oklahoma State football has been, I wouldn't say that necessarily because it lives in OU's shadow and because OU is so close. I don't think a lot of people realize that. There's still a lot of OU fans just right outside the outskirts of town there. So I think that he's comfortable where he's at, and because of this bonus structure, this retention bonus he's got coming in as well, in addition to this $1 million raise every year, I think he's set there. I don't think he's going to leave. But as you said, there have been at least 3 that I could think of at the top of my head, including Tennessee twice, where he's been involved in something or his name's been seriously considered. But, only one time I believe that he was seriously looking at potentially leaving.
I mean, they were a play away from the playoffs last year, one big play, and they would have been in this thing. For me growing up, I mean, Jimmy Johnson had a year and left. Les Miles had a good year and left, and I'm not talking about great years. They were barely good years. It's been pretty much a doormat of a program. Gundy's done a really good job, hasn't he?
I compare it to, Mississippi State. It's kind of what Dan Mullen did there, but he's doing it in Stillwater during a longer period of time. And listen, he's the type of coach because of what he's done there. Unless he's got a successor in place that understands the system and can keep that all together, the moment he leaves, they're going to go downhill a little bit, just like Mississippi State has done. I know they're kind of middling there around 500 or whatever, but they're not anywhere close to what Dan Mullen had them consistently. I think it's a very favorable and the comparison to do that, to make that comparison. Mississippi State and Oklahoma State, you're exactly right. They're doormat programs in their conferences, and for Mississippi State in the Western Division specifically. And I think that the moment Gundy steps away, Oklahoma State is going to slide down. Now, having said that, I think I've said this on your show, that the Big 12, we're at an inflection point, obviously, with the Big 12, with OU and Texas leaving. There's an opportunity here for Oklahoma State to be the top dog in the Big 12. And this is a very crucial point in that. And I think that's why Gundy was saying things like that after the Bedlam game about how we're a football town finally. And we got an opportunity here because of all the facilities they put in place, all the money they're putting into that program, to be able to jump up to maybe the top of the Big 12, be that big dog, because you've got the 2 top dogs leaving. You've got new schools coming in that are probably not going to be uber successful right away. And to me, the programs that have an opportunity in the Big 12 to take over as the consistent number 1 or number 2 team in the Big 12, like Texas or OU, to me, those 2 programs are Oklahoma State and TCU. I would give the edge probably to TCU right now because of their facilities and the amount of money they've got there. But Oklahoma State, because they've been more consistent for a longer time, and they've got, not a lot of turnover, obviously, with their coaching tree, Oklahoma State's in the strongest position it's been in the Big 12. And for that matter, could be for the next 5 to 10 years. And I think it's huge for them that they are able to keep Gundy around.
Brandon Marcello for a few more moments on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. At @BMarcello on Twitter. 24/7 Sports is where you read him. Overall program on a better rebound right now. Your backyard, Arkansas, where Sam Pittman has football headed in the right direction. Back-to-back Elite Eights in basketball. Baseball is phenomenal. Or, he's got the
Sharkensaw.
Sharkensaw. Musselman had him playing well. Look at him. I like it. Or, hey, here's the other option, though, Brandon. Tennessee. Heupel took a step forward in football. Basketball won the conference championship. Baseball is really good. Both these programs are ascending. I can continue to look at the preview monitor and see which way you're going.
You know what? As much as I'm holding this up, I could say I could cheer for basketball just because I don't cover basketball anymore.
Right.
I'd say Tennessee,
Wow.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Tennessee's rolling in recruiting right now, and you could ask why with NIL, as we all know, with Nico going there.
So it seems like they're working it well. Yes.
Yeah. That's not downplaying Arkansas, of course, but Tennessee's got it rolling, man. Their basketball program, Rick Barnes, he's always going to have them in contention, the top 4 in the SEC, which is huge. And football, they're in a very great spot going forward, and they're going to score points. And if they could just get that defense to play a step better this upcoming season, they could win 9 games. And then if you continue to get this type of talent and you keep scoring points and the defense turns around, maybe they're all of a sudden unseating Florida to be that contender against Georgia once out of every 3 years. I don't know. Let's see if they can get the recruiting going consistently, but I like Tennessee. Now, having said that, if I'm comparing like exact teams or programs, I think Arkansas basketball is better than Tennessee basketball going forward because they've got like the number 2 or number 3 class coming in on top of what they have right now. They're killing it in recruiting for the first time in like 15 years. And Musselman's just been working the transfer portal and getting guys to kind of almost just fill spots for him. He's not getting superstars, and now he's got superstars coming in. Man, Arkansas basketball could be crazy good for the next like 3 to 4 years.
When do you start planning out your schedule for the upcoming year? Do you still go to games this upcoming year? Or do you gonna stay there in the cave and monitor everything as a national voice? And if you could go to one stadium you haven't been to yet, where do you want to go?
Well, listen, I want to go to Michigan, and I want to go to Ohio State. Want to go to Penn State. I guess what I'm saying is the Big Ten. I need to go to more Big Ten games. I only got to go to one last year. It was at Michigan State, and it was great, but it's not, the big house or anything like that. But yeah, I want to hit Big Ten country big time this upcoming season, and Big Ten football is going to be really good this year. But yeah, I hope to be on the road. Hey, listen, that's out of my control. I don't deal with the travel budget, but yes, I definitely plan to be on the road this fall. And, I know this is all old news to everybody, but how great was this past season of us being in stadiums, full stadiums once again? These big games were so much bigger and so much more electric. Like Michigan State, that game I went to in East Lansing, it blew me away because it was, 1, rivalry, but 2, you could just tell that they had been holding that in for 2 years. It's fabulous this past year. We were so lucky to be able to experience that, and let's keep it going.
Of course, Brandon will be on the road this year in his brand new Jeep. Tell us about Jeep, Brandon. That's how we do it, man. That's how we do it here. Yeah.
Dennis agrees. He says, as an owner of 2 Jeeps, just empty every pocket is absolutely correct. So he agrees.
Yeah, I bought one right at the start of the pandemic and sunk all my money into it. I've done no upgrades because I'm expecting it to break down at some point, and I'm going to have to pay a lot to fix it. So it's a car. It's a vehicle I plan on having for 20 plus years and handing down to my kid at some point because if I'm going to put that much money into it, it's going to have to last.
Got to last. All right, go follow Brandon on Twitter at @BMarcello. Read him at 247 Sports. Thank you so much, Brandon. Have a great week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, Brandon with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, JohnstonRVCenter.com.